Hello everyone. I just wanted to take just a few minutes today and talk about thoughts. You know, it's not a secret that sometimes our thinking really is a great source of anxiety for us, isn't it? Sometimes we have reoccurring thoughts that won't go away. Perhaps it's thoughts of the past, perhaps it's thoughts of the future. And sometimes it's just we don't know how to control any given thought that seems to be a very unwelcome guest into our mind. So today I'm going to talk about a strategy that might help you in this regard. But first, do you realize that you are not your thoughts? You're actually different than your thoughts. Your thoughts are something that come and they go, and in the end, they do not really make up who you are. So in that vein, I want to talk about thoughts and your individual person separately. So the way that we'll do that is we'll use a strategy called a thought river. And a thought river is a way to think about separating you from your thoughts. So your thoughts are those kinds of things that keep coming down the river, and it really kind of recycles. Sometimes you see all kinds of thoughts come down the thought river. Maybe it's just things you have to do in the day. Perhaps it's things that you need to do in the next couple weeks, or perhaps you're ruminating over an argument that you had with your spouse or your teenagers, or so on and so forth. And so those thoughts come down. But the ones that are problematic are usually the ones that keep recycling and keep coming back to your mind, and you just feel like you're enslaved to that thought, or that reoccurring thought, or the reoccurring thoughts. They could be plural thoughts. And so it's important to think of them as thoughts in a river that come from a source and they move on down the river. And you, though, are someone who's different than your thoughts. You're the person up on the bank. And the person up on the bank gets to choose their thoughts, and they also get to choose to evaluate their thoughts. And not only that, they get to choose to dispute those thoughts. So when a thought is coming down the river and you see it's coming into your mind and you see that it's there, and that's part of the river process, and you as an individual get to decide, am I going to keep this thought, or am I going to let that thought go down the river? Well, in order sometimes to let it go down the river, you have to dispute that thought and then let it continue its descent, so as to not keep reoccurring in your mind. And so how do you dispute a thought? Well, as Christians, we really do put ourselves under the scope of Scripture, and so a lot of times we can just lean in on Scripture to know how to dispute a thought. For example, perhaps you were fired from your job and you've had a lot of stress in relation to that. Well, perhaps the thought that keeps you up at night could be something like, I've lost my job, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't have enough savings, and I really don't have retirement. All these kinds of things can escalate in our thinking. Well, if that is the reoccurring thought, then what we need to do is step back from that thought as the individual on the bank, and you see that thought coming down the river. Then you can dispute that thought, and you can say, I did lose my job, but I have many options that I can do moving forward. I can, fill out some job application. I can talk to some family members and some friends about job opportunities. I can grow a skill and get a skill to change positions, perhaps. I can move to a different town. See, you can dispute those kinds of things, that thought, with those kind of realities. But even further, you can dispute that thought with the realization from a biblical point of view that, as a Christian, God watches over me. He helps me. He's my great helper in the time of need. He will not forsake me or leave me, and I'm not alone in this. I might feel alone in this, but I'm not alone in this. And then that's the disputation that you do with that thought, that reoccurring thought, and then you put it in the stream and you let it continue down. You don't hold it and let it keep recycling in your brain or in your mind. And you can do this with any sorts of thoughts. Perhaps it's thoughts of something that happened to you a long time ago, where you can dispute it as being in the past, that it doesn't designate your future, and that God has your future in your hands. So that's how you dispute a thought. You allow the thoughts to come down the river, identify them, evaluate them, and then dispute them. And so hopefully that will help you in, and this little strategy will help you today as you decide that you can deal with anxious thoughts. You can take your thoughts on and you can construct your thinking process in a more positive and healthy way for you, because our thoughts are very important and they drive a whole lot of what we do and say and the way we feel. They have a direct correlation to our emotions. So try this strategy. If you have any questions, just put that in the box, in the little box down there, and share and like and subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of material. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.